And what is up, everybody? All right. NXT, I guess, just had another pay-per-view in Toronto just recently. And it's nice to see that Samoa Joe has the NXT title again. But remember how I said when he first signed with WWE NXT that was going to be the best that he could possibly do. Then WWE went and did something ridiculously stupid. You know, they go through the trouble of, making a new WWE title belt. Then they unify the WWE and the World Heavyweight belts to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Make a new belt, only to split the belts up again. Not to mention the fact that the new SmackDown title is the WWE Universal Title belt. Could someone please explain what the hell that's supposed to mean exactly? I mean, I'm looking here. It says WWE World Champion, WWE Universal Champion, owned by Kevin Owens, and it's the exact same belt, only it's red instead of black. Then you got, the Raw Tag Team Champions and the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and no more divas. No more WWE divas. It's Raw Women's, Raw SmackDown. The Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion stay the same. They bring back the Cruiserweight division. And I guess the first person to win the belt back was the guy who used to be Suicide/Manic from TNA. And this belt looks so fage. I mean, it's got this diamond-esque plate, and the belt is lavender. Seriously. Then of course, just dumb stuff like that. And back to Samoa Joe. Like prime example, the first time they split this apart, they split the belts apart, mind you. First time that they had two different championship belts, it was because they had bought out WCW, so it was the WWF Championship versus the WCW Championship. First person to unify the belts was Chris Jericho. Okay, then the first person to ever wear the WWF Undisputed Championship belt was not Brock Lesnar, Triple H, who lost it to Hulk Hogan, who lost it to Undertaker, who lost it to The Rock, who lost it to Brock Lesnar. When Brock Lesnar supposedly refused to defend his title on any other WWE brand at the time except Raw, that's when it became okay. Except SmackDown. That's when Raw had the World Heavyweight Championship and SmackDown had the WWE Championship. Now, with the two belts, you had the opportunity for superstars who more than likely were never going to get a shot at the belt, all of a sudden getting a chance. Christian, won the won the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Benoit won the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho, won the World Heavyweight Championship. These are guys that were not necessarily, as big as they were A-listers. Somebody Vince McMahon never would have really signed. I mean, Chris Jericho was the first ever undisputed champion only because Triple H was injured. They weren't going to push The Rock or Stone Cold at the time, even though Stone Cold was the WWF champion and Rock was the WCW champion. And just dumb stuff like that. So when they switched the WWE title over to Raw and the World Heavyweight title to SmackDown, that's when like I said, that's when Mark Henry finally wins a world title. That's when Alberto Del Rio wins a world title. Um, different stuff like that. It suddenly became the, just as equally important, yet nowhere near as prestigious. You know, it's like the World Series heavyweight World Series MMA World Series of Fighting heavyweight championship versus the UFC heavyweight championship. Like, yes, it's just, they're both world titles. Clearly, UFC's heavyweight title is more prestigious than World Series heavyweight title. That's basically what it was, and it seems like they're doing the same thing again. It is stupid. I mean, they had just been like, first off, I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked that they gave AJ Styles the WWE title. Like, I didn't think they had it in them. For him to have signed with WWE, all of a sudden he gets a title shot and he wins. Good on him. TNA's first ever Grand Slam champion. He was their first Triple Crown champion, first ever Grand Slam champion. He's done a lot within within the business of pro wrestling. So he absolutely deserves it. I didn't think they'd give it to him that quickly, but he deserves it. Good on him. But then for the supposed Universal title, Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, I've never seen this guy. Young dude. The only thing I know about him is he works out with Triple H. That's the only thing I know. Even Stone Cold Steve Austin supposedly has some nice things to say about him because he's a big dude. Yet you got somebody like Samoa Joe. How many times have they had in shows Samoa Joe beating the snot out of AJ Styles? TNA, TNA or Ring of Honor. How many times have they had Samoa Joe win all these other different titles? He's in NXT. He just won this title back. Why now that they split the belts up? Now that they split the belts up again, he actually has an opportunity to go a little bit higher. He could possibly win the Universal title, only because when they eventually dissolve that title, Samoa Joe will never go down in history as a WWE champion. Kevin Owens, right now, will never go down in history as a WWE champion. Mark Henry will never have held the WWE title. Why? Because he didn't win that title. He won the World Heavyweight title. It's not going to count. Samoa Joe can win the Universal title better than the NXT title. He absolutely deserves to be, just as hold a title just as equally important as the WWE title. However, it is stupid because it will never be as prestigious as a WWE title. It will never be the WWE title, and he will never go down in history as a WWE champion. The NXT, their development league, this is a man who's more developed than most of the people on WWE's main roster, and this is what they're doing with him. So, like, I don't know if this was his choice, this, that, the other, and I don't understand how come the two belts that he's got received on more than one occasion had X's on it. Like, what is it with Samoa Joe and X championship belts? I don't get it. I really don't. This is a man who, if he was in Lucha, if he was in Lucha Underground, he'd probably be able to. He'd fit right in. If he was to go to Lucha Underground, man, he'd fit right in. This is a guy who, Lucha Underground is everything that pro wrestling should be, but it's not. They don't really play safe, and for the most part, they don't really have to, due to the fact that they don't they don't perform as much. Therefore, they don't hurt themselves as much. Samoa Joe, easily pull out all the stops. This is a man who was close second to Chris Benoit. When it came to technique and ferocity, it did not get better than Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit will never be in WWE's Hall of Fame, despite the fact that their wellness policy is written in his and Eddie Guerrero's blood. Now, Samoa Joe, the perfect opportunity for him to move up to the main roster, perfect opportunity to go after either title. And personally, I would love to see him win the WWE Championship, because at least it will go down. Even if he holds it and loses it, the following month, he will still go down in history as a WWE champion, because he absolutely deserves it. But then again, a better match for him would probably be Kevin Owens, and that title they would have no problem, letting Samoa Joe have, because it's not the WWE title. He's not one of he's not one of Triple H's boys, and the fact that he's too fat. He doesn't have that look. He doesn't have that pretty boy, fitness model look like John Cena, like Randy Orton, like Roman Reigns, like most of these Seth Rollins or any of these other guys, even though he's a much better performer than any of them. And I cannot stress enough how much that absolutely sucks, and it absolutely pisses me off. Joe, you're better than this. I'm done talking. You guys have a good night.